So, guys, VR. Is that a gimmick, or do you think it's actually something that's going to be the regular or the norm? Something awesome?
Right now,
Jonah, what do you think?
Yeah, right now, I don't think it's doing much of anything except like giving out tech demos to play if you have a PSVR or an Oculus or a Vive. I think eventually it'll be something. I don't think it'll replace home consoles that you play on the TV, but I think it'll be something to augment that experience.
Yeah, I'm not really sold on whether or not even like the technology that they've done with VR is necessarily going to be something that we're going to continue to utilize with video games. It might find some commercial success elsewhere.
Yeah.
Like if you can do like a pay-per-view and be at like the front row of like a UFC fight.
Yeah.
There you go.
Stuff like that, I think it might eventually take over. Like the thing is too is that you're starting to get like a lot of these indie developers, anybody that wants to put a game on Steam pretty much can do like a VR game. Whether or not it's good is going to be questionable.
Yeah.
And it really comes down to like, again, we were just talking about this with Sony. You know, they had all this VR hype. It came out, did very well. It's definitely sold at this point more than the other two headsets that are available for VR because you already have the console that it's ready for. So you have that going for them, but like you're just getting marketing now for Farpoint. You're just starting to see some of that marketing show up on the Facebook feed, on TV, this, that, and the other thing, where he's putting on a VR headset, he's pulling up the little accessory gun thing that he has.
That's coming out of your chest, apparently.
Yeah. So they're still investing in that side of it, but I guess the question is going to be is that how long are they going to keep investing in the marketing for it? How long are they going to keep investing for the development of these games for it? Indie developers might take it up and do like a separate thing where like you can play it in VR or you can just play it regularly on the console.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really interesting to see. There's just it's like anything else, like the Vita, anything else. It's a duality. Like they have to pretty much pick and choose whether or not they're going to support it and whether or not it's going to be worth it. You look at some of the most recent closures of studios for Sony, like Guerrilla Cambridge, who did the PS Vita game for Killzone, which is I think one of the better Killzone games that they've done in recent history, even probably more so than Shadowfall. And they did that, and then they did Riggs for PlayStation VR, and then they shut that studio down. Mm-hmm. So, again, and that's usually very telling that they're not going to invest in this type of video game or resources to try and make a VR game. So what does that say to the rest of the consumers? It's going to say that, all right, well, we're not going to put the money into something that we pretty much built, promised that we were going to support, and now most of the people that probably bought this may or may not be using it on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So,
for me, right now, it is just a gimmick. Like you said, it's just tech demos. They're trying to sell a product that is going to be way too expensive to be done right. For me, personally, I want that thing where you're in the harness, you have the thing on,
the friction
pad, and when you run, you're actually running. You're not pushing any buttons to run. Like, you're fully invested in it. Like, you feel like you're in the game. Otherwise, it's just like, okay, like, you're just going to get dizzy. And for me, personally, I get motion sickness, so I'm not really a fan.
Yeah,
we were talking earlier about how arcades can make a resurgence because of VR.
That's true, too.
I mean,
I could find a place there.
I would love to see those machines and picture an old arcade where you just have these machines set up for all kinds of different games.
Yeah.
And then you can put in quarters or whatever. Like, something like that I see it in, where it's more for... it's kind of like an
experience.
An experience, exactly.
You go out and you pay for.
Yeah, because I don't see people wanting to shell out $400, $500 for the equipment. $400, $500 plus for the equipment just to get the basic of what they're doing now, which is kind of like you said, it's just tech demos. Like, I think the coolest thing I saw was this drawing thing where you can draw your stuff and it's like 3D in this.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Like, they had the Batman one, but that was a tech demo, which was kind of cool, but... You know, it still has its limitations.
Yeah, and that's the problem with it, is that you have a limitation. I think Jonah's right, though, or you're both right when saying that, you know, it can find a home in like an arcade or like a bar or something where you can have like this almost social experience with it, where there's something you can try and test out for like a few bucks for a period of time.
Yeah.
And I just don't know, like, within a year from now, and E3 is going to be very telling. If they come out, as soon as it comes out, or even Microsoft, if they don't have any kind of VR thing that they're attaching to Scorpio, if we don't hear anything about VR and we don't hear about any kind of new games that are coming out for it, then I think it's safe to say that they're going to slowly wind down development on it.
Yeah.
And you're just going to have what you're going to have.
The way I look at it is like 3D movies where, you'll have like back in the 50s, they had 3D movies where it was like a big thing, then it died off because it was like, well, sort of a gimmick sort of thing.
Yep.
And then after Pandora came out, that was a whole nother thing of 3D movies. And they're starting to cut back again now because, A, you have to pay more to see those movies. And, how much...
You mean Avatar?
Avatar, I'm sorry. Did I say Pandora?
That's the planet.
Yeah,
right?
Whatever. Well, when you saw that planet in 3D, you knew what was going on. That movie, Avatar, and there's like 50 million sequels.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. It was a gimmick, and then like everybody wanted to do 3D, and then like I know, like me personally, like I don't usually go to, like I won't opt to go see the 3D version of the movie.
Yeah.
Because I just want more money for an experience.
Exactly. And for me, I'd rather just see the 2D. It's nothing. Because,
I like the IMAX. I like the big screen and the really loud speakers. Like, I'm all about that. But I don't care for the 3D.
Well, what's funny in our theater, I don't know about your guys, but I noticed it that if you don't see the IMAX theater, they actually toned down the volume in the other theaters.
Of course they do.
They did.
Why wouldn't they?
Because I remember going and seeing like a whole bunch of movies before they put in the IMAX, and it was like great. Like the speakers were loud. Now that the IMAX has been in there for a couple of years, like they actually turned down the other ones. So you get, if there's an IMAX version of that movie, they're purposely making that not as good, just so you would purchase for the bigger screen, the better version of the movie.
Disgusting.
Yeah,
tomfoolery.
It's ridiculous. Redonkulous.
Poppycock.
But as far as, the VR, that's what I think it is. It's just something that it's catching people's attention because it's neat, but like I said, for a consumer price, no one's going to be able to afford it to do it correctly.
Yeah. I think the big part of this is that if you're going to do VR, you have to make it available for what you already have. Like, I think it was good that Sony did it where, like, hey, your PS4 that you have in your home right now, that could do VR. Yeah. That was good, and I think that's why they've had more success than some of the other ones where you're spending $700, $800, not including what the cost is of a PC to play some of these VR games. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we talked about it before, is, like, even, like, like your Samsung phone. They have the whole VR experience that you could pretty much put into like a little headset and put it up to your eyes and you can experience it that way. But you already have the technology because everybody has a phone.
Yeah.
The biggest winner, I think, of VR potential could be the Switch because the screen, the Joy-Cons, I feel like you have a good start for what they could do with that.
Yeah.
And the idea that kids can experience Mario VR experiences, Zelda VR experiences, I think they could find some success with that if they, as long as they are utilizing the core tech that they are pretty much in every household.
Right. I think the best success they had so far is with horror games.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, Resident Evil 7 was a big deal.
For me personally, like that would definitely enhance the experience. Yeah. Because it's a first person game, so you're already in there. So like just to be able to have like surrounded in darkness and like you're literally trying to check around corners. Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Not
but
me.
I mean,
all you, John.
Jonah, do you have any experience with the VR at all?
The only VR I ever tried was like it was a demo in Best Buy, and it was one of those cell phone headset things.
Yeah.
It was terrible. It was the worst thing. It made me sick, and it didn't even feel like I was in it.
What was the demo? Was it a game, or was it like a nature experience?
It was nature experience.
Like you look up to space?
It was like nature.
It's like, wow, it looked like I'm outside, but I'm in Best Buy. This is so cool. Take my money.
I think there was like an aquarium app or something, and it just didn't feel right. I felt like I was watching it on a screen, and it made me sick.
Yeah.
And I also was aware of the fact that something was on my face that touched other people's faces.
So you're like gross. Constantly thinking of the face aids.
So I think that I do think though, like it could just very well be a gimmick, and we don't like a year from now, 2 years from now, we may not be talking about it at all.
Yeah.
The technology is important, and I think you will see adaptations of it. Maybe not necessarily in the gaming sphere, but again, in like every day.
Yeah, like I said, like you were saying with, pay-per-view, you want to sign up for something and
they have a camera that's 360 degrees, and you can actually be there and actually watch it from like the side.
I think eventually that when the technology gets cheaper, people, producers of the games and the consoles will be more inclined to make VR equipment.
Yeah.
That's good. as I would say. These aren't bad, but they're not really doing anything special.
I mean, you look at the first version of a VR system, which was the Virtual Boy, which was just terrible.
That's not even a VR thing.
It was.
I don't even believe that.
And
it was like the first attempt to like kind of bring the games, but it just made people blind. And
I don't even think that the worst part about the VR going on right now is like the hardware, because PSVR isn't bad. I think the games that they're making for these VR consoles are not there yet. It's just you walking around doing things you could do normally in other games.
Well, that's
just point and shoot,
yeah.
or point look. And I guess, like you said, the only thing that's really utilized it well is horror games.
Yeah.
And aside from that, is it really going to be that much better playing a first-person shooter in VR than playing it on the screen? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll save it. A Star Wars lightsaber battle game.
Maybe.
That would be something.
I just picture the Wii version though of like the.
Well, the PS Move controllers do have better one-to-one movement, so it'd probably be a little bit better. And your little ball thing on top of the Move controllers would probably glow the color of your lightsaber, so bonus points.
See, they should just come out with, like Power Gloves again. Only this time, like you don't have to click buttons. You just do the action that's in front of you. Like if you had a lightsaber,
I think they're
you just
working
do
on
this.
a lot of
like,
that stuff, though. I feel like that is some stuff that they are working on, like the vibes.
Like I said, though, it's got to be priced right where we can afford it.
Yeah.
And then they can, it's easy to work with. It's not like, okay, well, I got to hack into this thing to make this game work and stuff like that.
I got to update all my PC drivers.
It needs to be interesting, because I don't want to play just another screensaver.
Yeah. But I think you're right with see what E3, because, Scorpio is going to be, announced soon, or the actual Xbox, whatever it's supposed to be. And they're, one of the specs was, yes, it's VR ready. Like, it's not going to be like, oh, you have to do this. It's going to be VR ready. So if they announce VR stuff, then we know that it's still...
There's still some stuff that...
Still stuff.
But, I feel like it's going to be something where Microsoft's not going to come out with their own headset. It's going to be like, oh, well, it supports Oculus Rift.
Yeah, well, that's... And that's... Because really what we've seen... How much different is from what they've seen, like, because people are probably trying to pitch the hell out of this thing to them, like, hey, let's make a game for this, but people are like, do I really want to invest money into this thing? I mean, like, who's really
the market's not there yet.
Like I said, I think what we touched upon, the best thing is kind of have like an outside entertainment thing. Okay, let's have a arcade with all these machines that you like strap yourself into, and you have that experience. You have the entertainment. Oh, I want to go see a concert. Here you go.
Yeah. Like a full flight simulator, like console setup.
Yeah, something similar like that. Like
where like you go to press a button and the button's actually there. That'd be awesome.
And yeah, well, that's what the power goes for. Like when you click something, if you have like a rumble in your finger, it makes it feel like you actually clicked it.
Does it do that?
Rumbles in my finger.
You got rumbles in your finger.
I don't want rumbles in my finger.
Too bad you got HD Rumble on your Switch.
That's true. Take you back. But yeah, guys, final thoughts on VR. What do you think? Is it a gimmick, or do you think it's just...
Right now, it's not any. It's a gimmick.
It's
right
nothing.
Now.
It doesn't exist.
If anything, it's just made me excited for VR arcades.
They have the V. They don't have the R.
Yeah, for me, it's just I don't foresee myself running out and buying a headset or anything that I would need to play in VR. It's just like anything else. So like these gimmicks come, they come and they go. We saw Wii Remote motion controls, and that was enough for what they did with the Wii for PlayStation to do the PlayStation Move, and for Xbox to do the Kinect, and that went away.
Yeah.
And now they use the Move controllers to help them with the VR, but now you have VR. We don't really know what the sales are looking like at this point. Don't know where the support really is, and again, it could just slowly, quietly
kind of just like, I mean, I do appreciate that they try these things.
Absolutely, and they need to.
Because there's people that talk about it all the time, but then to finally see it happen, it's like, it was all right.
Yeah.
It worked better in my head.
Yeah.
But, yes, for me, I just don't see myself using it. Like, for horror games, I think that'd be kind of cool, like, for, like, party reasons, you know what I mean? Kind of like, hey, guys, let's see who can last the longest, and Resident Evil, something cool like that, like crazy. Yeah. I was thinking of you.
I don't want it.
But as far as...
Can't make me.
But as far as, like, wanting to play the next Halo in VR...
Oh, that doesn't work.
No, it's not going to...
How are you going to jump?
You have to think of
Throw
jumping.
your head up. You have to bob.
It's like Superman. How does he go faster?
You're gonna end up looking like Daft Punk. throwing your head back and
Your
forth.
neck's gonna hurt by the end. But yeah, so that's I don't really see it as anything right now. Hopefully those what we were talking about, like the arcade thing, that'd be cool. I wouldn't mind actually going out paying to try it.
Oh yeah,
You know?
I just want to buy it.
I think
for
it would be a
myself.
big thing, but for myself, no, I'm perfectly fine just looking at the screen and doing my own thing like that, unless it's fully immersed.
Yeah.
For a cheap price.
Exactly.
But what do you guys think? Let us know down in the comments.
If you have VR, though, I want to know too.
That's true. If you do have VR and if you've tried it, let us know. And are we just crazy?
Probably.
We're not. We're 100% on point.
Crazy.
On point crazy.
But guys, all right, guys, that's the end of this podcast. But I hope you guys enjoyed listening and or watching.
I know I did.
I know he did. I know I had a good time. Carmine, did you have a good time?
2 out of 10.
2 out of 10. Carmine had an okay time.
Oh, that's lower than okay, John.
He just wants to play a Switch.
It's because this guy was talking the whole time. We know it was you. We know it was you.
Oh, I hate that guy.
Are you pointing at me right now on the camera? Oh.
Pointing at the camera itself.
Oh,
It keeps looking at me.
You're pointing at the other person on the other side of the
That's
camera.
right. I'm breaking the fourth wall.
What do you think you are, Deadpool?
I was Raphael in Ninja Turtles. Old school style. Bam. Anyway, guys.
Nobody understands what you just said.
Thanks for watching and or listening. I'm John for Cartridge Blast Gamers.
I'm Jonah.
And I'm Carmine.
Stay awesome, guys. We'll catch you next time. Peace. You were late.